So often how we begin and start a class is we will begin by introducing ourselves. And the way that we have done that in many classes is that we will say, this body has the name of fill in the blank. This body has the name of Claudia. This body has the name of Claudia. This body has held many titles in life: daughter, sister, friend, colleague, salesperson, waitress, a minister, and teacher. This body and all of those things that I just listed and all of the things that you can list absolutely change. Hello. Absolutely change. And what the song, which touched my heart so deeply, and I know touched your heart so deeply, is that it had you thinking there's this sadness that we connect with this concept and this idea of change. And this sadness and this discomfort and this actual fear of, with change, we don't know what will happen, and there is a mystery involved with it. And so I would suggest to each of us that it isn't so much change that we resist, it's the fear that is connected with it. It is the conditioning of how we meet change. That we have been conditioned to believe that change is sad and that loss occurs from change. One of my very favorite talk titles, which we entitled the theme this month, is Change and the Changeless. Change can be very frightening when you're not anchored in the changeless, that which is eternal. Because then it can feel as if everything is just floating around. There's no rhyme, there's no reason. That we are controlled and directed by conditions and events in the world. It can be pretty scary, can it not be? Anybody ever feel a fear connected with the changes that have occurred in your lives because of somebody or something else, or because of a diagnosis, or because of a perceived loss? Something is changing, and gosh darn it, it wasn't your fault. Have you ever felt that way? And it's like we want to keep things the same because it is known and because it is comfortable. But the truth is, in this experience that we have chosen that is called life, where we take a body and we are playing, sometimes we forget that, but we're playing in the realm of form, that in this realm everything's always changing. Everything is always changing, always expressing, always being made new, always maturing, and always recreating itself. We have the imagery of it all over the place, life and death, death and life. And that we think that death is an end, and we forget that it's a beginning. And we think that life in this experience of form is eternal, and we forget that as spirit, that we recreate ourselves endlessly, limitlessly, and that is exciting. That there is a call within each of us that is actually always calling us forward to some sort of change, some sort of transformation. And what I know about myself is that if I don't heed that call, if I resist it, if I begin to suppress it, because I'm afraid of change, because I'm afraid of what it will mean, I'm afraid it will hurt people, I'm afraid that my life will change, if I suppress the call that whispers in my ear and pulls at my heart, I know that I begin to slowly die. I begin to stagnate. I know this for myself, and I know this for all of this creation and this experience. And so we're talking about change, and actually we had this as a talk theme for the month before we actually knew that a big change was going to be coming for this community, and that change is that, yes, you called me forth, the search team, and I have communicated with many in the community that I will be releasing that and moving on to a new expression and a new experience. And I believe that most people are aware of that, but gosh darn it, if you're brand spanking new in the community, you might not know about this. And so I want to say what is so. I want to teach from what is really going on in this experience. And we will be doing that over the next 3 weeks, because if it isn't the perfect experience for a spiritual talk and teaching, I don't know what else is. Because for the past 3.5 years almost, we've been talking about transformation, and inherent in transformation is changing form, is shifting into new experiences, is elevating to a new awareness of consciousness. And we've been talking about that together. And so much of what we have been teaching can be applied to this exact situation. So I said this body has the name of Claudia, this role that I serve as minister, and that's the aspect of me that changes, but what is changeless is our experiences together. What is changeless is the love that we have shared. Don't mistake it in this moment in a fearfulness or in a hurtfulness that it wasn't real. Please don't do that. Please don't mistake it in a moment of feeling hurt or sad that it wasn't real or that it wasn't genuine. Okay? So I want you to know that what has been real, what is real, is the love that we have experienced in this community together, and that love does not end. That love is ceaseless. That love continues to express whether I am here in physical form or not. And that love is alive in each and every one of you in this moment. And so when a void is created, when there is a space that is created, when there is a change, and your reaction, whatever it may be, is some derivative of fear, of loss, of sadness, of regret, of betrayal, of abandonment, of fill in the blank, whatever your reaction is, what have we taught here? We have taught to take a breath and to pause. We have taught that only love is real. So if I am experiencing something other than love, something else is going on. It must be fear. It must be some form of fear. Oh yeah, and that's not real. That's not real. That's not real. I may be experiencing it, and the experience of it is palpable, and I feel it, or my heart feels like it's breaking, or I feel tears coming. I'm not saying to push that aside. I'm saying to feel that. I'm saying to allow that to move through you, to be your teacher, so that you can look at it from that consciousness of the Christ, and you can look at it and say, oh yeah, that's just arising in the field of my awareness. It's just arising as a thought form. It's just arising as something fearful to reflect back to me what is here for me to heal. Thank you. Be grateful. That's why we sing gratitude song. That's why we're moving into the gratitude and the celebration of the love that we have experienced, and that this community will absolutely continue to experience, because if we've taught anything, is that I may be in this role now, but you're in it as well. We have taught that the student is the teacher. And so each of you may appear to be in a student position right now, but make no mistake, you are the teacher. You are the teacher. You are the leaders in your lives and in this community, but also, and most importantly, in your lives. So when the void occurs, when something seems to leave, when there seems to be a change that interrupts the day-to-day routine and activity, and you're uncomfortable, who are you going to be in that void, in that space? Who are you going to be? And when you feel that discomfort and you watch and you observe and you thank it for reflecting back to you whatever it is that you are to heal, remember that whatever it is that is reflected isn't about the event that just occurred, because Tony taught last week, all events are neutral. Folks, this event is neutral. It only has the meaning that you give it. What meaning are you going to give it? And use any example in your life. When something shifts or changes and you're uncomfortable and there's this void and you're face to face with your fear, who are you going to be in that moment? Are you going to stoke the fires of fear, or are you going to be love in that moment? Today's title is called Claiming Your Mastery, and if there is nothing I am more passionate about, is that each individual here claims your mastery. There are no victims here, not ever. And so when we get that, there's nothing that can happen to you, that we get to begin to choose what our experience is. And that we begin to take responsibility for the choices that we make, for the thought forms that we're entertaining. And we begin to see, oh yeah, I'm at cause. I get to say what is so. I get to decree what is so. And the number one thing that will block your way in mastery, the number one thing is what? Fear. Fear. So we have a couple things, and the very first one is what I want to impart in this moment in the history of this community in your lives, that as you commit to practicing the mastery of the Christ in your life, is to remember that fearlessness is the primary characteristic of mastery. Fearlessness. And mastery is not having this great power to make things happen. Folks, we've been making things happen, which has been the problem. Out of fearfulness, we've been making things happen. What we're talking about here is feeling that fear and allowing it to dissipate, knowing you cannot do it alone, that you must invoke and invite spirit. And as we did in our meditation, invite the angels, invite the masters, invite the friends to assist you in stepping over that chasm of fear that you think is going to suck you in and kill you. That it's only the recognition that what is true always, and there's no other choice. We go around thinking that there's a lot of other choices, but there really isn't. There's really only one choice. We can go on creating and making our experience from fearfulness, or we can begin to pause and let it be our teacher and join in the consciousness of oneness and ask for the assistance to see what is true. And what is true is that you and God are one. And what is true is that you are the creator of your experience, that you get to decree what a thing is. And as you decree what it is so. So back to the reading, it says, "Beloved friends, the world that you look upon is not real." Well, that's a tough one, isn't it? It sure does feel real. It looks real. You know, if I walk into this, it seems to stop me. But it has never been real. It will never be real. And it is the world that we have made. But we have made it from nothing, from a fearfulness. And it's harmless when we can begin to step back and remember the truth of who we are, that you and God are one. So the world that we've made, the world that we've made together, and even this experience that we're going through together, it offers us the opportunity to choose to impregnate it with love, to allow it to reflect to us our fearful thoughts. And fear is the only energy that can separate us from the kingdom of heaven. And fear is never justified in any moment. Never justified. The maintenance of our fear keeps us very busy. It is as if we stoke its fire lest it go out and leave you to a warmth not of this world. Now imagine this with me. You receive some sort of news, or there's news out in the world, and you begin to talk about it in community, and everybody brings their fear about the situation and starts talking about it. And it's like everybody is around a fire and it's cold, it's frigid cold. And our fear, we're stoking the fire with our fear. And we're hovering around this fearful fire thinking it's going to keep us warm. But there is an essence and an energy not of this world, of the realm of the changeless that is found within, that we join with, that is the source of our warmth, the source of our light, the source of our wisdom. And so who do you be in the midst of change? Who do you be in the midst of change? Are you going to stoke the fires of fear? Or are you going to look at it from the perspective of love, from the perspective of Christ, and see what that fear is reflecting back to you? You know what? If you look at that fear, if you look at it from this joined consciousness, it will collapse lifetimes of woundedness connected with that one fear. It will collapse and it will set you free, so that you won't be talking about what your mother or father did 25, 30, 50 years ago. So that you won't be talking about who left you, who fired you, what diagnosis you got. When you look at whatever fear has come up for you in this moment and intend to invite the consciousness of love to heal that for you, it collapses all other scenarios of hurt and woundedness connected with that one fear. So, what do I want to share next? I really want to share something with you so I've been coming up against a lot of fears, as you might imagine. Leaving this community is a fear that I have. Going to another town and another community is rife with fear and doubt and worry. The sense of feeling in moments, forgetting our connection as love, and the idea of missing the physical presence of you all, and the honor that it has been to stand here to share with you over these last few years, is something I feel too. So please know that with me, that we're all going through a shift and a transformation and a change. A lighter example that I have is that I work out at the Orange Theory across the street, and I think I'm the oldest person there. And so I call the people who work there kids, and like I'm ancient. And so they were promoting this competition called a dry try, like DRITRI. And I think it was meant to mean a dry triathlon. Because I said, well, what is it? And there were only so many spaces, and you could win a towel, and I really needed a towel. And, this little hook, can I do this? And so I started asking the kid questions, like, what is this? And it was a 2,000-meter row, 300 repetitions in the weight floor of what I don't know, I didn't know at the time, and a 5K walk or run. And I thought, and he was like telling me how easy it would be for me. And what I heard myself say to him was, this body is probably 30 years older than your body. I think it's going to be a little harder for me than you're making it out to be. And there was only one spot left, and I took a pass. I said, nah, I'll leave that to you guys. And I went home, and I told Tony, and I said, gosh darn it, I must think that I can't do that because of age. I must think I have a fear, a misperception, because thinking that, I'm too old for something, which clearly I'm not. And at least I learned I'm not. And so I told him, I said, when I go there tomorrow, if that spot's open, I'm going to take it. So I go there the next day, and the spot was taken. And inside, on the outside, I was, oh, that's too bad. I really want to do it. On the inside, I was like, oh, thank God. Because I had made my agreement, and I was going to. And so I went on my merry way, and I got a phone call like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon saying, guess what? The spot opened. And I'm like, oh, great, put me down. So it was yesterday at 2 o'clock, and I thought, gosh, I hope I'm going to make it because, I usually wear heels on Sunday, and, I hope I'm not going to knock myself out and I won't be able to do Sunday. So I get there, and we started on the rower, which I'm not very good at, and I was the last person done, I was like, like doing the row and just feeling kind of sad and sorry about it. And everybody went to the weight floor after that, and I caught up there, and then we went to the 5K run, but I'm a walker. I don't run, I walk. Everybody else was a runner. And so everybody was getting done before me. And I just started remembering, well, wait a second, I did this for me. And I'm not in competition with anyone. In fact, Tony always says there's no love in competition. And but I tend to be a little competitive. And so I started running. I don't run, but I started running. And so I kind of did a run walk. And what I am proud to say to you is I got a medal. I did finish last, but what happens when you finish last is everybody's cheering you on. And I thought that was really cool. Of course, I was worried what my butt looked like because they were all behind me. I shouldn't say that, but I'm leaving in a couple weeks, so I'm going to say it. I'm like, God, all these people are like right behind me. And so anyway, I brought this in. I thought it was kind of funny to just share with you what this looks like, how we work it. We work it on the little things so that when the bigger things come, we've already worked the muscle. We already know what this is about. Oh, this is fear. Okay, this is fear. What am I afraid of? And not to address it from the mind of Claudia, the body mind, but to join in spirit and to allow spirit to reveal to you what the healing is here. And next week, what we will talk about is how to do that. Because we're talking about noticing our fear. And we're talking about inviting the Holy Spirit to join us so that we aren't addressing our fears from the mind that created the fear. We must be bigger than the fear. And so next week we will talk about how do we do that? What are the step-by-step instructions of how we actually do that? But the invitation right now is for all of us to turn within for a moment, to declare something so that as we go forth from here, that you are going to activate within you this awareness that as you walk through the week, you will be noticing the areas of fear. And so I'm going to invite you to take a breath with me. Because as you notice, what you are invoking within yourself is mastery. Oh yeah, mastery. The primary characteristic is fearlessness. Fearlessness. I'm going to invite you, whatever brings up fear within your awareness today, tomorrow, at some point that you look upon it as if it is a scene in a movie. There are sets, there are characters, there's a plot, there are scripts and actors. And you're going to begin to see this from the observer, this very separate scene. And you're going to remember things are not of time. That all that is birthed in time does end in time. And you're going to use this scene, this moment, to birth something eternal, to bring forth to it the quality of love. You're going to ask, what will I teach in this moment? What will I teach? And what I teach is what makes something true for you. And say to the self, putting the hand before the heart, say this to the self. Now, from this moment on, I will no longer tolerate error in myself. No more games. No more dreams. I am committed to only being the presence of love. For that is the truth of who I am. What is this moment for? What do I decree this moment to be? What do I most want to learn by teaching it? Brothers and sisters, we walk along the pathway of mastery together. That as we choose to be love, we will see everything that blocks it. Fear not. Fear not, for I am with you. The I am of your being is with you now and always. Become willing to release your thoughts and ideas and your positions and surrender it all to spirit within. And ask these questions. What am I going to teach? Who am I going to be in this moment? How may I love and extend love? And we journey onward together as brothers and sisters, as mighty companions from here with this practice until we meet again and we learn what would love do? What will love do? And we will invite the angels and the spirits to walk with us that we may step over that fear and step into the mastery of the fearlessness, of the changelessness of God, and you are one. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you for this day, Spirit.